Hello and welcome to a video presentation of our Working with Investors course at the Miami Association of Realtors. My name is Robert Rodriguez and today we'll be covering the different ways to find investment properties for your customers. We'll be using the MLS, IMAP, RPR, and some of the auction websites available for property search. We'll begin with the MLS. By logging into Matrix, we'll be conducting a single-family home search. Let's begin by selecting active, single-family home, and single. Let's search in Miami-Dade County. And for a criteria of the foreclosure properties, we'll need to add an additional field called REO. This indicates that these properties are bank-owned properties, and let's select yes for an answer. Let's try and not look inside of HOPA communities. These are Housing Older Persons Act or 55 and over communities. Let's select no HOPA as well. This leaves you with 78 results in Miami-Dade County. This leaves you with 60 results in Miami-Dade County. Let's click on results. And let's begin with the first property. I am sorting from price, low to high, and the first property that shows up is a property listed at $89,900. Let's click on the MLS number and let's start our research. Normally I like to look at the property photos first and see through these photos and notice that sometimes these properties are not fix and flips, sometimes they're complete teardowns. So here we have a property in Miami Gardens that is 2,345 square foot and it looks to be a complete teardown. It is listed at $89,900. The next thing I'll do is I'll look at the remarks and see what they are describing the property as. You'll see that the agents must offer through propoffers.com. So there is a website where you will submit your offers. Read through the broker remarks. It says all offers must have $10,000 initial deposit or a 0-day inspection in order to be considered. It is very important to always read the broker remarks because this is where the agent tells you specifics on how to place an offer on a property. And then in the agent remarks, it says buyer to sign a hold harmless agreement at closing for demo violation. So we are going to be demolishing this property. This property has been on the market for 52 days. Then the next thing I'll do is I'll look at the property history to see what activity has been going on with this property. So originally, the property was listed in December of 2019, and then it had a pending sale, then back on the market, then another pending sale, and another back on the market. So this is an indication that two people have tried to buy this property with no success. Let's click on listing. Now you may consider this an investment property, you may not. Maybe you're not a builder and you're more of a flipper, and this is not a property for you. But if you are looking for a perfect land that you can build on in Miami Gardens, here we have a property listed at $89,900. Now, I would like to check what a property this size in Miami Gardens would be worth if it were in good conditions. So we're going to use IMAP by clicking on the little I on this listing, and this will open up IMAP for us. We'll see that the property belongs to U.S. Bank National Association. And then you'll also notice in the history that there was a certificate of title, which is usually an indication of a foreclosure, for $126,100 back in October of 2019. You'll see the owner who previously owned the property, and they lost the property to Bank of America. Now, in January of 2020, Bank of America transferred the title over to U.S. Bank National Association. To create comparables on IMAP, it's very simple. Look for the Find Comparables link on the upper right corner of your IMAP screen, and let's go ahead and look for comparables for this property. Normally what I like to do is I like to set up our criteria for the comparisons to equal to a 20% difference in lot size, a 20% difference in living area size, located within half a mile, sold in the last 6 months. We are going to ignore year built, stories, bathrooms and bedrooms, garages and pools, waterfront, and in the event that you need to use them, then you can always change. We're going to click on Set as Default. So using these defaults in this Miami Gardens neighborhood, there is one comparable during the last 6 months. Here we have a 2,027 square foot home that sold for $175 or $86 a square foot, and this was back in January of 2020. This gives you a value of $198,700 for the subject property. Let's check 1 year ago by clicking on 1 year and then hitting Update Criteria. And now we have two comparables where we have a 2,340 square foot home that sold at $119 a square foot, and that sold at $280,000 back in April of 2019. This gives you a low of $198,000 and a high of $275,000 with an average of $237,100. So here we have a home that is most probably being sold for land value, and it's got a possible value of about $237,000 or a high-end value of $275,000 if the house were in pristine conditions. Let's go back to Matrix and let's continue looking. I'm sure there's going to be better properties than this one in our list. So let's click on Next. Here we have a house listed at $126,000. It's a 1,169 square foot home. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home on a 6,200 square foot lot. Once again, read the remarks and carefully read the broker remarks. The broker remarks indicated this is a HUD home, so this is Fannie Mae. And it says the seller must comply with HUD guidelines. Usually HUD guidelines are that properties being sold by the listing agent are not negotiable as far as the listing price. Normally an offer must be within 5% of that list price. You are going to go to homepath.com to submit your offers. This is a property that's been on the market for only 1 day. Here are the photos. The photos don't always tell you the story. Obviously, this is just us on a computer looking at the property. You may want to visit the property. Especially, you may want to visit the property with an expert that knows about construction and knows how to identify all the problem areas in a property. You may also want to see attachments inside of the listing by looking for the documents up here on the center of the listing. And sometimes they provide you with what's called a certificate of use or a CU report. In this case, I'm looking over here and there is a COU draft. Let's go ahead and see if they are telling us anything about this property. A COU or a certificate of use is normally an inspection report. The inspection report will give you an estimated cost of repair for anything that may be wrong with the property. So I'm looking for numbers. I'm looking for a description of how much it'll cost me to repair this property. And here we go. So we have a good faith estimate, and this is the estimated cost of zoning or legalization of $3,000. Then you also have an estimated cost to bring up to compliance for the structure of $14,500 for electrical repairs, $2,500 for gas and plumbing. That gives you a total of $20,000. Now, this is the equivalent of an inspection report. An inspector will go, they'll look at the home, and they'll basically figure out how much it'll cost to repair the home. If you do have a contractor, an architect that can do better, then of course that would be up to you and your client. Let's go ahead and close this out. And let's open up Matrix once again. So now let's check for the IMAP and see what the value of this property is. You're going to click on Find Comparables, and we're going to see a value of the property show up very shortly right here of an average of $213,000 with a high end of $283,000. Now the property is currently listed at $126,000, so it's a good price, especially when the high end value of the property is $283,000. Now looking at the map and making sure we're staying on the same area, you can always try and do the same subdivision instead of half a mile, so we can stay in the same neighborhood, therefore giving us at this point no properties. So if that's the case, then you want to go back to half a mile, hit update criteria, and we're back in the same neighborhood with the same comparables. So the property with the highest price per square foot is this one right here at $242 a square foot. So let's look for $242 a square foot. Okay. And I may have missed it. There you go. Number 5. Number 5 is a property that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,074 square foot home, and it's sold for $242 a square foot. That's like your benchmark. That is the highest property in the area, giving you the highest value. The property with the lowest value is the one that sold for $122 a square foot. So you can look at that one as well. Here's one $122 a square foot. That's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, a lot larger. It's 1,352 square feet, and it's sold for $165. So as you can see, we have low-end sales, and then we have higher-end sales, giving you a high end of $283 and a low of $142. So actually, the list price at $126 is not a bad price, and the fact that you may be able to sell it for as much as $280,000 is a great deal. Now, normally what we do in our classes is that we go through this list. We go through a variety of properties in the MLS, looking for the best opportunity for an investment return. I'm going to take you to a property that I have already chosen as a really good deal. And let's see if we can do a little study. So here we have a property in North Miami. This is a single family home, which is currently a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, and it's 1,449 square feet living area. The lot size, it's a nice size lot. It's 11,550. The property is up for auction. So you'll notice that they're directing you to go to xome.com, XOME.com, to place your bid. The reserve for your auction is normally the list price. So when you go to Xome, you offer $142. You're normally going to take the property, and then of course, if anybody offers higher or the price actually rises, the bank is definitely putting a green light on this sale. If the property or the offers are below $142, that normally means that the reserve has not been met on the auction website. So this property has an outstanding value. If I click on IMAP and I run some comps, you're going to notice that this property has a value anywhere from $263 all the way up to $434, with an average of $350. So we are in this neighborhood right here. Number 4 seems to be a property that's on the water, on a canal. So if you want to remove number 4, you can. And we're still looking at 263 and 434 with an average of 368. Keep in mind that they want to sell the property for $142,000 or probably a little bit more since this is an auction. So here we have a property that's in an excellent investment return, because even if we buy it at say $180,000 and we invest some money to fix the property, you should have enough money to get a return on your investment. This is considered a flip. Now, unfortunately, they're not really providing us with a lot of photos. As you can see, this is the property and this is all we see. So it's got some potential. So what I like to do is I like to use this property as an example for further study. This is our due diligence as realtors. We want to do our homework. So this is part of doing our homework. The first thing I want to do is I want to check if the property, if there's any other listings in the area actually, going for $300,000, $400,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this address because we're going to do a search. I may not be able to copy it. So let me see here. All right, yep, I'm going to copy it like this. All right. And then let's go do an active listing search of a single family home within a half a mile. Always do a half a mile range, and then of the address, which is this one right here. So there are currently 13 properties for sale in this area. I'm going to click on results, and you're going to notice that the subject property is by far the lowest list price in the area. You're talking about the next list price up from there is $277, and it goes all the way up to $599, with several properties listed somewhere in the $300,000 and $400,000 range. So that's good news. We are able to purchase this property. We are going to make some money on this property as a return. Okay? And then the last thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and run a market report, and then market conditions, which is over here. Market reports, market conditions. This is more of an inventory analysis that you want to do with this property. What we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, active, and then now we're going to do a closed sale of 1 year. So 0 to 365, single family home. Then we're going to do half a mile from this address. All right. We're going to hit enter, and we're going to wait for the address to show up, and then we're going to select the address. So again, to repeat, to run an inventory analysis, we're going to do market reports, market conditions, which is the 1004 NC report. We're going to do active and closed sale, single family home, and then half a mile from the address, which is the subject property. Let's go ahead and click on generate report. And what I want to know from this report is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Is it slowing down? Is it trending up or down? So looking at the last column, which is the current 3 months, the first line is telling us that there were 9 sales in the last 3 months. And that, of course, is 3 sales per month. That's your absorption rate. With currently 13 listings on the market, you have 4 1/3 months of inventory. This is your months of housing inventory. So if we're selling 3 properties per month with 13 properties on inventory right now, it'll roughly take us a little bit over 4 months to sell our inventory. That's an indication that it is a seller's market. Anywhere from 0 to 6 months is considered a seller's market, where anywhere after 9 months it's a buyer's market. And then, of course, in between 6 and 9 is more of an average or neutral market. Prices are right at $365 for a median, with 37 days on the market to sell. And then your list price is about $370 as a median, and you're looking at properties selling at 97% of your asking price. So not a bad market at all. Throughout the year, it's been pretty much maintaining as a seller's market with 3.5 months of inventory. It jumped to about 6 months of inventory, now down to 4 months of inventory. So a pretty stable market and a pretty fast moving market. So that's good news because we don't want to hold on to the property for way too long after we fix it. So let's close this report out. And then what we want to do is we want to go back to the property. A very simple way to access your previous search, of course, on Matrix is to look through recent searches and go find the property search that you had been doing, which is this one over here for 60 properties. And that takes me back to the listing. Now, the property is for sale at Zoom.com. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and again copy this address and then open a new window with Zoom.com. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to paste this address and we want to look up the property in Zoom.com. Zoom.com is an auction website. Of course, you'll have to register and you'll have to follow their directions in order to place an offer on the property. This is a property that is in the auction.com. This property is being sold subject to seller approval. All right. And in this case, the reserve was met. Oops, this already happened. So it actually ended yesterday. The property was sold for $213,000. So the offer is being reviewed. So in this case, we're not able to place an offer on this property. It unfortunately just ended yesterday. However, they haven't really changed the status on the MLS. But let's pretend that this is a property that we purchased for $213,000. Let's pretend we won the bid for $213,000. Okay. Now let's go back to Matrix, and what we want to do is we want to open RPR. RPR is going to let us do an investment analysis for this investment property. So by looking for the RPR logo, which is up here, we're going to click on the RPR logo, and this is going to open RPR for us. All right, so here we have RPR, and what we want to run is the investment analysis for RPR, which is right here. It says Evaluate Property Analysis for Investors. We're going to click, and then we're going to click on Continue to the actual analysis itself. Now, sometimes RPR will ask you to upgrade your memory for the Evaluate tool. What you want to do is you want to continue without upgrading. You do not need to pay for memory in the Evaluate tool. So if at any time you're prompted to upgrade for memory, just click on Continue without upgrading. In most cases, you'll land on this page right here. And this is the analysis that we're going to run for this house. So we are attempting to do a flip, not a long-term hold. So let's click on flip. And then you'll notice that the property purchase price is the list price. And what we're going to do is that we're going to fill in $213,000 because that was the actual final bid that won the auction. And then you want to do full year holding costs. So how much would it cost to hold the property for a whole year? Well, you're going to click on the MLS and you're going to look for the 2019 taxes of $4,285. And you can always check with IMAP to see what the whether it was a homestead exemption or not. And by looking over here, it's not a homestead exemption, and it is $4,285. Now, we pretty much don't know what next year's taxes are going to be, so what I like to do is that I like to use the $4,285 as your tax for this estimation. Now, you also want to do insurance. So for insurance, we do have a little estimator here in the listing called Surfina, or if you look at this link, it says insurance specs. What we want to do is that we want to open up the insurance specs, and what we want to see that based on $173,000 for your dwelling, you have a DP3 policy of $1,726 a year. The HO3, which is for homeowners that wish to live at the property, a homestead, is of course a little bit more, 3,169. So for the investor, you're looking at DP3 of 1726. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go back to our analysis, and then for 4,285, we're going to also add another 1726. So 4,285 plus 1726. We're at $6,011. And normally what I like to do is I like to estimate for utilities, electricity and running water, $200 a month. So $200 a month times 12 months is $2,400. So we're looking at $6,011 plus $2,400 for electricity and water, giving us a grand total of $8,411 for full year holding costs. Let's go ahead and click on enter. And then the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to switch our fiscal year to begin April 1st. And we're going to hold the property for 6 months. 6 months from the moment you buy the property to the moment you sell the property. You have to renovate the property, you have to market the property, and you have to sell the property within 6 months. Now, if you're going to use a lender like a hard money lender, normally they'll loan you a percentage of the value of the home in order for you to purchase the property and not use all of your cash. So let's go ahead and say we're going to get a 70% loan from a lender, and normally these interest rates are a lot higher, something like 9% or 10%, depending on what lender you use. And we're going to go ahead and click on submit. Now when you click on submit, all right, you're going to land inside of the analysis itself, where you're going to go straight to purchase and sale, and we're going to make some adjustments over here. So looking at this, we have a purchase price of $213,000, and then we're going to renovate the property. So we're going to just give a guess here that this property is going to require about $100,000 in renovations. So let's come back over here, and let's say we want to spend let's spend $80,000 in renovations. All right, let's just throw $80,000 in renovations, and then the closing costs. The closing costs when you buy the property at $213,000 at 2%, since it is representing a cash deal. Let's just go ahead and say it's $4,000. All right. And this, of course, are numbers that we're estimating for class purposes. Now, if you guys remember, on IMAP, we were getting a high on the property as much as $434,000. If you want me to double check this for you, we're going to go back to MLS and we're going to click on IMAP. And at this point, we want to go ahead and click on Find Comparables. And you're going to notice that the high of $434,000 is the absolute best scenario. Now, which of these properties, again, is giving me the high? If you look, the property that sold at $299 a square foot, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,252 square foot home. Number 3 is right here, so right in your neighborhood, giving you a very high value of $434. All right. So remember, you're renovating the home. You may want to build out another bathroom, build out another bedroom. So we're able to sell it at $400. Let's go with a sales price of $400,000. Let's go with a sales price of $400,000 for a gross valuation sale price. And now we have to account for selling costs. This is your commission. When the realtor places the property, or when the investor places the property on the market, they have to pay a sales commission to a realtor. So let's go ahead and put in 6% for commission, and this is going to leave you with a profit margin of 18.70% in a 6-month turnaround. So, and then if you have a loan, if you have to use a lender, this is leaving you with a profit of 16.36% in a 6-month turnaround. So you're looking at, if it is a cash transaction, a profit of 74,794, and then if you are using a lender, you're looking at profiting 65,452 in a 6-month turnaround. That's not a bad day's work for an investor. However, I would like to get over 20%. So basically, let's bring this price up to say 415. Click on enter. So if we're able to sell it at 415, now we're looking at 21.42% profit margin, or 19% profit margin for the scenario that we have to use a loan. So this is a great tool that allows you to analyze the investment returns for your customers. You can always print this by going to File and then Export as a PDF file or as an Excel sheet. And if you needed to start all over, you can always go to File, New, File, and this will have you start all over by entering all the numbers. You can check the sources of funds, and then the sources of the funds, basically you can play around with the interest rate and the amount that you're taking out as a loan, and work out the numbers again. Remember, this is the Evaluate tool, and it's inside of every property inside of RPR by looking for the Evaluate Property Analysis for Investors tool. All right, so we've identified the perfect opportunity for a flip inside of Matrix. Now let's switch our focus. And folks, before we go or leave Matrix, I want you guys to know that you have to stay on top of these properties. The too good to be true properties normally sell really quick. So what you want to do with a search like this is that you want to save this search. You want to save this search as an auto email, and you want to have the system email you right away when a new investment property hits the market. Now, the reason why I'm going after foreclosures inside of the MLS is because those are almost guaranteed to have the largest margin for profit than any other property in the MLS. You can always do a regular search on the MLS for properties that are short sales or properties that are low end on the price range and maybe strike gold. But by looking for REOs, you're almost guaranteed to get all the properties with a profit margin. So that's a quicker way for us to find investment properties. Now, what we want to do is that we want to talk and switch our focus over to auctions. Auctions like the Zoom.com that we were looking at, and auction.com, which is another website, and even another one, hubzoo.com. These are auction websites that list property sometimes on the MLS, and sometimes you won't find them on the MLS. You'll find them on these websites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get away from this property here that we were looking at, and I'm going to go back to the homepage for Zoom.com. You notice that you have in Zoom.com buy and then also auction only. We're going to go ahead and click on auction only, and I'm going to look inside of Miami, Florida. We're going to look inside of Miami, Florida, and let's look for properties up for auction inside of auction.com. So what we notice here is that you have a property that ends over here. It's a house, and it ends in 3 hours and 41 minutes. This is one that ends or starts at March 23rd at 10 a.m. So you want to look through these events and you want to see which one you want to participate in. So when you click on a property like this that ends in a couple hours today, you want to see if the reserve has been met. So in this case, the reserve has been met. A reserve is usually the minimum the bank is willing to take for the property in order to sell the property. Sometimes you'll see that the reserve is not met. What that means is that no one has placed an offer equivalent to what the bank is willing to make on the property. At this case, it becomes subject to seller approval, which means you may offer less than the reserve and still buy the property if the seller approves. In this case, if the bank approves. Now, if you go over the reserve, in this case, the reserve has been met, then that pretty much gives you a green light where if you are the highest bidder, you take the property. Now, to participate in an auction like this, you're going to need 3% deposit inside of this system. So make sure that you have the funds ready to deposit. And you're also going to be subject to a buyer's premium sometimes. In this case, this property is letting us know that there is no buyer's premium, so no buyer's premium. I'll talk about a buyer's premium in a little bit. In most cases, properties are vacant or maybe even occupied by tenants, and they give you the no trespassing, do not disturb occupants warning. So sometimes you can't even see the property on the inside. All right. So to participate in this bid, basically you are going to be paying the current bid is 385, and the next bid would be 390,000. You need to go to IMAP and you need to see how much this property is worth, because if they want $390,000 as the next bid, I want to make sure that this property is worth it. So I'm going to go to IMAP and then I'm going to click right over here where it says property address. I'm going to, let me switch over to Miami-Dade County. Very important. You're going to go crazy if you're looking for a property in Miami-Dade and your IMAP is set to Broward County. All right, so let's try this again. All right, so 3791 Southwest 139th Court. And then let's go ahead and start search. And what we have here is the property. All right, we're experiencing a little delay. So once we have there, we're going to run just a regular comparable on this property. Here we go. All right, let's click on Find Comparables. And we're going to try and see what the value of the property is based on sold comps. All right, so based on sold comps, you're looking at a low of 414 with a high of 580,000 and an average of 484. So based on the highest and best case scenario, the house could be worth up to 580,000, and the current bid price is $385,000, with your next bid being at 5,000 or at 5,000 more, or $390,000. So feel safe that you are buying a property that is below market value. Now, you want to look at pictures and see what the, pictures paint as far as the property. All right. And you determine whether it's an investment property you want to get involved with or not. Now, of course, all these properties, we highly recommend that you do some kind of due diligence search or title search. We recommend a website that has very simple title searches for a very low price, and that's easytitlesearch.com. Whenever participating in an auction, you want to make sure the title is clean. So what you want to do is you want to go to a website like easytitlesearch.com and you want to sign up, and then if I show you the pricing, you'll look at that you can get a full title search done for $55. One report, $55, or 10 reports for $500. Not a bad deal when some people charge up to $200 and $300 for title searches. This is an online resource, easytitlesearch.com. All right, so let's go back over here. This is, of course, Zone. Auction.com is the same thing. Auction.com and also hubzoo.com. It's the same thing. There are auctions. There are properties that are up for auction. You'll sign up and you'll place your bid after doing your research. You guys want to make sure you read the fine print. Some of these tell you that there's a 5% buyer's premium, and a 5% buyer's premium basically means that if the buyer buys the property, they're also going to pay an additional 5% over the purchase price as somewhat as fees for this property. So read into the fine print when looking at auction.com, zone.com, or hubzoo.com. All right. And then the last auction that I want to cover is the Miami-Dade Clerk of Court auction. This, of course, is miamidade.realforeclose.com. Miami-Dade.realforeclose.com is the clerk of court official foreclosure and tax deed sales for the clerk of court of Miami-Dade County. Now, how does it work? You can always click on start here and basically look through the instructions. I'll go ahead and briefly go over this. In order to participate, you'll need 5% down, which you can always deposit. The deposit here here. How do you pay for deposit? You can always pay the deposit in person at 111 Northwest First Street in downtown Miami on the 12th floor in a cashier's check, or you can transfer the money as well. Transferring the money can be done 24 hours before the actual bidding of the property begins. You pay for your winning bids in the same place at the downtown building in a cashier's check within 24 hours of the sale. Now, your deposit is a 5%, equal to 5% of your estimated highest bid. So if you see a property and you like to place a $200,000 bid, you need to have $10,000 placed inside of an escrow account in order to place that $200,000 bid. Now, if you don't win the bidding for the property, the money gets returned to you, or you can always leave it in the escrow account and participate in a further auction. The bidding process is basically done in $100 increments. That means that the auctions or the bidding will only go up by $100 over the last person that bid. You can set it to automatic bidding process where it will bid $100 more than anyone else up until it reaches your maximum bid, which you have set in the system. If there is a tie, the tie is usually broken by rewarding the first person that bid, say $200,000. So if two people tie at $200,000, the first person to bid $200,000 is the winner, the tiebreaker. All right, so let's go back and let's take a look at the calendar. And you're going to see that Thursdays, all right, so Thursdays are usually for tax deed sales. And then you have auctions happening on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Now, the best way that I can possibly show you how this works is to look at a day like Monday, the 2nd of March, and show you how it works. You will have a lot of cancellations due to bankruptcy, or cancellations because the owner is trying to figure out what to do with their property, so you have some cancellations. However, you will have some auctions that actually take place. In this case, this was an auction sold to a third-party bidder. So an actual investor came in and bought the property for $460,100. Of course, you would imagine they did their due diligence. They went ahead and looked at the property value and determined that 460 was a good price to pay for that property without really going over the market value. And looking through this, you're going to see that the plaintiff in this case over here actually paid $1,185,000 for the property, and the property judgment was $1,736,000. So that, you never look at that because that's usually what the person losing the property owes the bank. This is the price that the plaintiff was willing to pay to keep the home. All right, the plaintiff being the mortgage lender. And then if you look over here, you have another third party, which is an investor, winning the bidding at $303,900. All right, so it's more or less an idea on how these auctions work. What you want to do is, of course, you want to prepare maybe several weeks in advance. I don't recommend that you look at tomorrow or the day after. You want to prepare with several weeks in advance to kind of do your research on a property and make sure that that is a property that you want to purchase. All right, so that's going to pretty much do it for the auction part of our training. Remember that you also have off-market sales that you can look through. Maybe you can do an IMAP search for properties that are in foreclosure, and you can offer customers, you can offer homeowners a deal that you want to, maybe take a house that's in foreclosure, you want to buy cash. So basically, you want to go to IMAP and you can do in Miami-Dade County. Let's just put a zip code here, 33155. And then you want to do filing date. Let's go 1 year back. So today is 03/18, and then go back 1 year. So 1 year, and let's look for single family homes. Well, this is going to conclude our Working with Investors Finding the Deals class. There is another section to this, which is Working with Investors Property Analysis, where we are looking for properties that are great rental income opportunities using a program called RealDAX. For these videos and the RealDAX videos and much, much more, please make sure to go to MiamiRealtorsLive.com. Now, MiamiRealtorsLive.com is our virtual online learning center, and you're going to go to MiamiRealtorsLive.com, and you're going to log in using your Miami Gateway, and then look for your video trainings, which we have over 100 video trainings available for you, and constantly adding more as we go. And then also you can follow us on YouTube at Miami Trainers. So by going to YouTube and searching for the Miami Trainers channel, you'll find all sorts of virtual training as well on that site. We want to thank everyone for watching, and thank you for being a Miami member, and have a great day.